So we're looking at a work by the Romantic artist William Blake, who's probably best known as a poet and an illustrator. Blake is incredibly influential on artists like John Linnell and Samuel Palmer. And an important part of his practice was a more metaphysical approach to art and the primacy of the creative imagination. This is in keeping with his seances and summoning. Can you just say a little bit about your approach to the creative imagination?
Well, in a way, it feels as though it is the inversion of how Blake considered his making. For me, I start at my very most everyday experience, my most mundane, throwaway feeling or way of being. I always start my works from my actual experience, which is there's no seance involved, there's no projection involved, but for me it is from being within that experience and almost treating myself as a traveler, like an astronaut through whatever is literally there, that I'm able to find what can be imagined. The last room in this show, entitled Groundhog Day, is a series of photographs I shot on February 2nd, 2023, this past year, our Groundhog Day. And the film Groundhog Day is essentially about a character who is trapped in the repetition of a day, a kind of flat day, in a sense, a no-time day. And he's only able to extend out, get out of it, through accepting and then loving the details and the interactions of his actual everyday experience. And so, because I'm a mom and also an artist, and many of my days are spent between going to the ENT and the doctor's office and back to my studio and cleaning up breakfast and et cetera, this kind of juggle, I thought it would be a good day to seize the day and, in a sense, imbibe its details. And so the last room are 12 diptychs, each taken 1 hour throughout my day. And each photograph within the diptych is taken from 30 seconds to a millisecond apart, so basically within the same time, but slightly different. And so within that, the moment is extended, and so there's a sense that there's no directional time in the space, that you're being in a detail, you're out of time. The inversion of that in this room is that many of these works depict moon shines, moon at night, people doing very specific things in relationship to the moon. It harkens back to a time when people lived their days in relationship to the moon, their months and their cycles in relationship to the moon, their food and livelihood in relationship to the moon. And with the agricultural revolution and then industrialization, this relationship is severed. A connection with the moon for women is obviously some kind of connection with ourselves, like our cycle is directly linked to the moon. It's a connection to our circadian rhythms, our day, connection to how we eat, connection to where we are literally in the world. And we have no need for a connection to the moon, actually. It's completely extraneous at this point. In this work, the Samuel Palmer Harvest Moon, which is one of my favorite paintings of all time, you see this kind of illuminated psychedelic relationship to the moon and the trees. The agrarian workers are harvesting, but maybe they're also dancing. There's a kind of ebullient joy. The moment can only happen in a way because we're told it's at night. This is a nighttime experience. And so maybe something that I feel in parallel to what I was doing in Groundhog Day is in these works, like moments are paused and seized and kind of opened up, but very much in relationship to the time that they're in. So there's something powerful to me about the function of the moon in all of these works, and particularly this Palmer in that way.